Hello and welcome to today's episode of Small Screen Stories. This is the show where I go over all the news in the world of entertainment and pop culture. It comes to you every Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, and there's a lot of stuff to go over. But before I get into all of that, if you could like and subscribe, that'd be wonderful. If you could follow us on social media, that'd also be wonderful. You can follow us at Small Screen Co. That's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow me at EJ Lauder on Twitter if you so wish. And if you would rather listen to this as a podcast, you can find that podcast wherever you get your podcasts. That's at Small Screen Stories. It comes out a couple of hours after this is aired live over on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch. So hello to everyone that's watching wherever you're watching. Hello to all of you who are listening wherever you're listening, and let's get straight into the news. And the big news of the is it the big news? Is one of the bigger points today, and that's that WandaVision's Monica Rambeau is reportedly going to be in Doctor Strange 2. So this comes from Giant Freaking Robot, who, you know what, their scoops tend to be pretty much on the nose. They do put a lot of stuff out there, but they tend to be right. And this actually makes a lot of sense. So why does it make sense? Well, because I believe there's a lot more that's going to come as far, especially with Monica Rambeau's character. So if you know Monica Rambeau from the comics, then you'll know that she actually is powerful. She's very powerful. And it seems as though she might be getting some of those powers in the MCU. So she's played by Teyonah Parris in WandaVision. She's brilliant. There's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of backstory there that we've yet to really uncover. So there's a lot of stuff involving Captain Marvel, especially with the death of her mother, and it seems as though she doesn't like Captain Marvel very much. At least that's what we seem to be getting a hint towards. Anyway, in WandaVision, there's a moment where her mother is referenced, and seems that Captain Marvel's referenced, and it seems that Monica's not a big fan of Captain Marvel's. But what does this all mean? Well, it means that, first off, I think Maximoff has actually given her some powers, although like her being blasted out of Westview in WandaVision, it seems as though something's going on when she's being tested. They want to take tests, and of course she's like, no, that's it. Do not take any blood. Do not take any more tests. I'm pretty sure she's got some sort of what's it called? It's some sort. I can't remember the name of the energy, but there's some sort of energy that's linked to the Fantastic Four as well. That they reference, which is why they're using. Is to do with the frequency that's being put out to the televisions. So I'm pretty sure she's going to get some of the powers she ends up getting in the comics, which means she will be probably quite a big part of the MCU moving forward, which I'm all for. I think she's brilliant. I think Teyonah Parris is wonderful in the role. She's a really fascinating character, and one that I think a lot of people want to see more of. So, you know what? I think Giant Freaking Robot are spot on here, especially if there's multiverse stuff going on. It seems that there'll be a sword kind of presence in the movie, which I think we're going to see more and more of in the future of the MCU. I think it's less shield and more sword. We've already seen the likes of Samuel L. Jackson kind of hanging out in a spaceship by the looks of it, so he will obviously be part of Sword or be involved in Sword, and I think Monica Rambeau will be a big part of that as well, and will probably end up being powered in some way in the future of the MCU. This will probably be revealed towards the end of WandaVision anyway, but let me know what you guys think about that. Is that something that you're looking forward to seeing? It seems as though Giant Freaking Robot are pretty certain that's going to happen. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Right, let's move away from... That's the only bit of kind of Marvel movie news I have for you today. The rest is kind of a hodgepodge of other stuff. But let's move on to DC. So I'm pretty sure you've probably been aware of what's going on with Ray Fisher, and he's been on Twitter a lot, talking a lot about the investigation that's been going on into what went on whilst filming Justice League. And actually there's going to be more about Joss Whedon coming up in a bit. But it seems as though Ray Fisher wants DC Films' president, Walter Hamada, to apologize. So this is actually a tweet that he posted not too long ago. He said, Walter, I'll bring it up here for you guys. So there's the tweet. He said, Walter Hamada still owes an apology to the participants of the Justice League investigation. Accountability larger than entertainment. And it's been getting a lot of traction online. It's something that he is very, very feels very passionate about. The whole "I stand with Ray Fisher" hashtag is trending today, and there's a reason why. He's really, I've said this before, he's really put his career on the line for this, and he's looks as though he's not going to be in the Flash movie as Cyborg. It seems as though his days playing Cyborg are numbered, which is unfortunate. We are going to get him in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I'm hearing that he's going to be the heart of that movie. So hopefully his performance in that will mean that he'll get other stuff, possibly in the DC Comics universe, but we don't know. I think he's kind of, as far as like him and Warner Brothers are concerned, I think it's pretty much over. But does Walter Hamada need to apologize? That's the thing. He is the president of DC Films, but then again, he wasn't actually involved in the making of Justice League. It seems as though what Ray Fisher has more issue with is the fact that Walter Hamada never really said anything and didn't really. It seems as though he didn't take the investigation seriously, which is something that's pretty bad. But then, as I said in the article, it really does seem as though the higher-ups over at Warner Brothers are going to get away with this. At least they basically pinned all the blame on Joss Whedon, which is fine, but it seems as though there are more people involved. Jeff Johns is a name that keeps on coming up, and Ray Fisher seems to be very adamant that he wants him to be fired from Warner Brothers or DC Films, and he's actually still involved. So, there are some people that have gone. There are still some people that are there, and I think Ray Fisher really wants people. He wants all the people involved to be held accountable, which is fair enough. He then, a couple of weeks ago, he leaked an audio recording between him and supposedly the investigator that was doing the investigation into what was going on the set of Justice League. This was when Joss Whedon was in charge. And she was saying that he was a very credible witness, and he was very, he was always there to talk to, and he was very helpful, and so I kind of, it's annoying that Ray Fisher has to keep on kind of defending himself. I think what he's doing is admirable because, again, you have to put yourself into his shoes. The guy is putting his career on the line for this, and I don't think people really think about that, which is a shame because he is a really, really talented. I think he's a really talented actor. I think he's a great Cyborg, and I think he was kind of done a misservice by what happened to him and what is happening to him. But let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. Right, Zack Snyder has been talking a lot actually about his Justice League film that's coming out in a couple of weeks now. It's not that far away from release, which is really exciting. But he actually was speaking to Vanity Fair, so I spoke a bit about this yesterday, and he revealed some scenes involving, a scene in particular involving Jared Leto's Joker and Ben Affleck's Batman in his cut of Justice League, which is coming out on March 18th, I believe. And this was in an article with Vanity Fair. In the same article, he also gave us a first proper look at Jared Leto's new Joker. It's the same Joker, but a new look Joker. And he looks, I think, pretty good. I really like the way he looks. I think he looks very good in that. And so what's been going on? What is this scene about? And apparently the Joker... the Joker is actually going to have a scene specifically with Batman, which so Snyder confirmed that Joker will be part of the Nightmare sequence, and this will also explain why Batman had a Joker card on his gun in that Nightmare sequence in Batman vs Superman. And Snyder also revealed that Joker will be Batman's guide into the dark world that could happen on Earth if the League fails to stop the Nightmare from coming true. So this is what Zack Snyder said. So he said the cool thing about this scene is that it's Joker talking directly to Batman about Batman. It's Joker analysing Batman about who he is and what he is. That's the thing I also felt like fans deserved from the DC universe. That's to say, the Jared Leto Joker and the Ben Affleck Batman, they never really got together. It seemed uncool to me that we would make it all this way through this incarnation of Batman and Joker without seeing them come together. And he's completely right. He is completely right. It is nice that we're going to get this scene. It is only one scene, so I think it's probably going to be about 2 minutes long. And it's going to be kind of almost like Joker being Batman's shrink in a weird way. But you know what? I'm all for it. I think it sounds like a really cool scene. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think Jared Leto's Joker actually looks really good. I'm really looking forward to that. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Is this something you'd like to see? Are you looking forward to it? Let me know your thoughts. Right, moving on to the new Predator movie. So this is being directed by, and I'm going to butcher his name, and I'm really sorry, but Dan Trachtenberg. I hope I said that properly. So he directed a really good film called 10 Cloverfield Lane, and that's actually one of the only, I think the only feature-length movie he's directed. And then it was revealed that he'll be making a Predator movie. Of course, Predator is now part of like the Disney universe. Now that Disney owns 20th Century Fox, they own that franchise. So they revealed that yes, the Predator movie is happening. At the moment, it's kind of being called Skull or Skulls. That's like the working title. But Murphy's Multiverse has actually revealed some details apparently of the film. So if you don't want to know anything about this movie, then just turn the sound off because there are potential spoilers. But again, I don't know how accurate their reporting is, but they do tend to be quite accurate, Murphy's Multiverse. So they're basically saying, so I've given you your spoiler warning, they're saying this is going to be very different from the previous Predator films. So the film is going to follow a rebellious 15-year-old called Key and her 18-year-old brother, Tabe. They're part of the Comanche people in the United States. So that the nation it's a nation now. They call themselves the Comanche Nation, and the brother is destined to be the chief of their tribe. However, after a hunt, he thinks he doesn't need a sister anymore, which causes friction between the siblings. So she then goes out on a hunt on her own in order to prove to her brother that. Sorry, I wrote this pretty badly. In order to prove her worth to her brother. This is where she'll end up running into a predator who will actually end up saving her life and her entire tribe. So this really does sound like a different take on a Predator movie to me. It sounds completely different. Normally there are kind of some movies where the Predator isn't actually a villain. I think Predators, you have a kind of good Predator in that. And apparently The Predator, the last one, which I watched, but I've forgotten most of it. I thought it was that bad, which is such a shame because I love Shane Black, but that movie was just not good. But apparently the Predator in that wasn't bad, but he was still killing people. So it's something that they've got to be really careful about because, at its core, the Predator's a predator, so it will be killing people. It will be killing things, at least, in this movie. So making it like an anti-hero in a weird way, yeah, it could work. But this, to me, I'm not... It's different, I suppose, but it's not really something that I suppose, how can you make another Predator film? You've got to think of another way of making it. This is probably the only story they can think of that would make any sense. It sounds to me like it's actually there's going to be no dialogue in the movie at all, that would be quite interesting, actually, almost a silent Predator movie. Or it's going to be there's going to be a language, but not one that we're familiar with. Which could also be interesting. Again, this is speculation. Like, could it be set before the United States was a thing? Could it be set? Yeah, I think that'd be quite cool. I think going way back in time and having that be really, really early and quite primitive, maybe. But then again, it seems as though it's going to be kind of, if we're taking this at face value, this plot detail, this plot reveal, then it seems as though it's going to be very much focused on this tribe. Fine. I'm not going to judge it until I see it, or at least see. Well, I don't even judge films by their trailers. So until I see the movie, I can't really say anything about what it's actually going to be like, if it's going to be any good or not. It sounds fascinating. Whether or not it's going to be good, that remains to be seen. There hasn't actually been a decent Predator film made since actually Predators. I thought was actually all right with is it Adrian Brody in that movie? The first Predator's brilliant. I love that film, the Arnold Schwarzenegger film. The second one is a bit meh. It's all right. And then was there a third one? I don't know if there was a third one. There was Predators and then The Predator, and then there were all the Predator versus Alien films, which are just awful. But I kind of have a weird fascination with them. I think they're quite fun. I quite liked the Paul W.S. Anderson one, I'm going to be honest. That's probably, you're probably going to switch off now, but I actually thought that one was all right. But again, that was another Predator film in which the Predator was actually the good guy. And those Predator versus Alien films, Alien versus Predator films, they weren't good films, but I kind of it's a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine. At least the first one is. I can't even remember the second one. But let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Right, Sonic the Hedgehog news. So we've actually got a title for Sonic the Hedgehog, the sequel, and it's called Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But I'll show you the logo, because the logo kind of makes it. Well, it pretty much confirms that Tails is going to be in the movie. Let me get that up for you. So there you can see the 2 is very much a Tails and Sonic the Hedgehog there. So the first film, I thought the first film was all right. I'll actually put it in like the top 3 video game adaptations ever, like, you know, to the big screen or small screen. I think Castlevania is probably number 1 for me. But I think it was actually a decent kids film, and I enjoyed it, and it ended up making 320 million, I think, at the worldwide box office, which is pretty good for that film. Sonic looked terrible in the first trailer, so they took it right back to the drawing board and completely redesigned the character. And now they've got good designs for those characters, so I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to come up in this second film. I hope it's good. It's Paramount, and apparently Paramount Pictures wants Jason Momoa to voice Knuckles, which is an interesting choice, because Knuckles is kind of a bit of a more kind of like butch version of Sonic, I suppose. Is a bit angry as well, and sometimes a villain in the games and in the cartoon, I believe that it started off that way. So I think that's pretty interesting casting. That comes from the Illuminati. So again, they're another one of these scoop sites that do actually. They do a pretty good job with their scoops. They tend to be more right than wrong. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Is a Sonic the Hedgehog sequel something you're excited for? Do you like the idea of Jason Momoa voicing Knuckles, in that sequel? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Right, moving on to our exclusive. It's an exclusive of ours, and that's that the Batman animated series sequel is in the works for HBO Max. It seems to be a good day for sequels today. This was revealed to us by a source that is reportedly close to Warner Brothers Animation. The reason I say reportedly is because I wasn't actually able to confirm whether they actually did have real links to Warner Brothers Animation. I'll be completely honest with you there. But they were able to offer me enough proof that I was like, okay, I believe what you're saying is happening. And it was also corroborated by some other sources that I then asked that I have worked with in the past, and I do trust these guys. So, you know, it seems as though this is happening. This was actually posted by Daniel Rickman that they were working on it. Or was getting a sequel, but there wasn't really much information on that. And again, Daniel Rickman puts his things behind a paywall, so I couldn't actually read what he wrote about that to kind of see whether his information was the same as mine. But apparently, like other reports were saying that it was. But it didn't seem to mention like HBO Max, for instance, which is what I was told, and that this comes after Batman the Animated Series and Batman Beyond are both coming to HBO Max. We do know that those two shows are definitely coming. So what did the source say? The source actually said, so this was the first bit. I always put these direct quotes in. So it's, yes, I can confirm that a sequel series is in the works and Bruce Timm will be working on the show. So then I was asking for a bit more information. I was like, is Kevin Conroy going to be in it, for instance? Which you can't really make this show not have Kevin Conroy. And then the source said, as it stands, Kevin Conroy is attached to voice Batman in the sequel series. And then I asked about Mark Hamill, because it was very little bits of information every time. It went on for quite a while, this. And then they said that things aren't so clear regarding Mark Hamill. I can't confirm that he'll be back to play the Joker. I can't confirm that the Joker will even be involved in the series at all. So that was the last bit of the last thing that this source told me. And so after it was corroborated by multiple people, I thought, well, I'll run with it. And it's something that I think kind of is a no-brainer, to be honest. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It's one of these shows that's when was it? It was in the 90s. It was when I was younger. When I was a kid, it came out, and it's brilliant. The animated series is brilliant. Of course, it has Kevin Conroy as Batman, has Mark Hamill as the Joker in it. And I think it would make sense to bring both of them back, to be honest. I don't really think you could make a sequel series and it not have Mark Hamill in it as the Joker. I'm pretty sure he'd be up for it. I know for a fact that Kevin Conroy would definitely be up for playing Batman again, for voicing Batman again. It's one of his favorite things to do. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing him do it or voice it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what sort of stories that Bruce Timm comes up with, because one of the things about the Batman animated series that was so good was the storytelling. And it was a really well-written show. And there were some episodes that weren't as good as others, but there are some really standout episodes. The ones with Mr. Freeze in it, for instance, were incredible, really, really well written. And it's a very. I was talking to somebody about it the other day, and they actually got to speak to Kevin Conroy about the show. And Kevin Conroy apparently was saying how the thing that he really loves about the show, and just playing that version of Batman in general, is how human all the characters are, not just Batman, but also the villains. And that's something that I think they really got the villains right in that show. And that's why I think it's so popular. It's why it stood the test of time. And it's why people are really excited for a sequel. And I am as well, as you can probably tell. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Is this something that you're looking forward to? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Right, moving on. The Flash Season 7 has a release date on the CW, so it's coming out on the 2nd of March, which is good. That's the premiere. It's just been renewed for a Season 8, which means we're going to get this season and then another season. And that will probably be the last season of The Flash, I think. I think they're going to be winding up these CW DC Comics shows, I'm pretty sure, quite soon. But 8 seasons is still a very, very good run. Right, Brooklyn Nine-Nine Season 7 is now available on Netflix. So Season 7 is actually only 10 episodes long, and they kind of cut it short because of the Black Lives Matter protests, and they thought that it would be morally wrong to release the episodes or do the episodes they were thinking of doing because of what happened and the terrible circumstances and the just awful the riots that were the protests that were happening in the United States and actually over here in the UK and in France. It was a big moment, and they felt that they couldn't continue that show the way they'd written it, and they wanted to bring it to kind of take it back to the drawing board and see how they could carry it on. I don't actually know if they're going to be making a season 8 of the show. It was renewed for a season 8 and I believe a season 9 actually. It was bought by NBC. They got the rights to it after it had originally been cancelled. It's a very popular show. The thing is, it's about a subject matter at the moment, which is actually it's quite difficult. It takes place in a police precinct in New York. In Brooklyn, and it's not an easy thing to it's not an easy thing to get right at the moment. They have to be very, very careful, and I think the showrunners and everybody involved in the show was very aware of that, which is why they kind of stopped the episodes when they did, like not even halfway through the season, which is a shame. But if you're a fan of the show, but it's also good because they can get things right. Right, The Mandalorian is more popular than WandaVision, according to a new report. So this comes from Parrot Analytics, and they're okay. Full disclosure, they don't actually get the numbers, all right? So a lot of this is, I don't know how they get it. Apparently they have a lot of data, and they do it via correlating the data and finding out which shows are the most popular. So they came out with the top 3. So in at number 1, weirdly, was Cobra Kai, which I like that show, but I'm a bit surprised that it's at number 1. Then it was The Mandalorian, and then it was WandaVision. So they did actually talk about it a bit in a blog post. So they said that WandaVision is 60 times more desirable than an average television show. The Mandalorian, is 63.1 times more desirable, and Cobra Kai is 65.3 times more desirable. So I don't know what that means. WandaVision apparently climbed to number 1 spot in the rankings this week. It finally knocked Stranger Things out of the top 3 digital originals. While demand for this Disney Plus original was up by 21% this week, it was still unable to unseat either The Mandalorian or Cobra Kai. So I love Cobra Kai. I think Cobra Kai is great, but I'm pretty surprised that it's so high up that list. I didn't know it was so popular. But it's a good thing. It's a really good show, so I'm really happy for it. The Mandalorian is on its 2nd season, so naturally the interest in that will probably be higher than WandaVision, which is just starting out. And it's it's really episode 5 that's really got people very, very interested in the show. So we'll probably be waiting around for another couple of weeks until that overtakes The Mandalorian, but I think it will. I do think it will. Right, final bit of news, and this I wanted to spend a bit of time on because it's a big bit of news, and that's that Buffy the Vampire Slayer's Charisma Carpenter has revealed the extent of Joss Whedon's bullying while she was filming Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel. She was in both shows. I really do. I think you should all go and read her tweets. So she posted a statement about what was going on while she was working with Joss Whedon on both shows, and it really is quite. It's not nice. It doesn't make for nice reading because. I'll be completely honest with you. I was growing up. Buffy the Vampire Slayer was one of my favorite shows. Firefly was one of my favorite shows. Angel was one of my favorite shows. I loved, for instance, the first Avengers film. And I was really a big fan of Joss Whedon's. I thought Joss Whedon, the shows he made were brilliant. I thought the films he like afterwards, the Avengers movies, maybe not so much Age of Ultron, but I really did think Avengers was incredible. And reading all of this, it's really upsetting because you find out what these people are really like. I mean, it's the same. I suppose it could be the same. It's not really on the same level as like a Roman Polanski or forgetting his name, but there are a lot of directors out there and people that you respect and that you would not so much admire, but you admire their work. Let's say it's a really difficult thing to talk about, and then you find out what they're really like behind the scenes, and it's just terrible. It's really horrible. It's cruel. The things. I'm not going to read her whole statement. I think you should go and read it for yourselves. But she did give the caption "My Truth" and then hashtag I stand with Ray Fisher. So this is what I was alluding to at the beginning of the show, is something that Ray Fisher has really started. As far as Joss Whedon's concerned, there has been talk about this before. I mean, Joss Whedon's ex-wife has actually spoken about this in the past as well, and said that he's a bully, that he manipulates people, and this is something now over the last couple of years that's been out there, and it seems as though I'm pretty sure this will probably open up the floodgates to more people talking about him and speaking out against him, and things like calling her fat when she was pregnant, and that is just not any way you should treat a human being, let alone like you shouldn't treat your employee that way. It's a workplace environment, first of all. You wouldn't want to go to work and be treated like that by anybody. You're a human. You wouldn't want to be treated like that by another human either. It's just not. It's not fair. It's not nice. It's not kind. It's not human. And the way he has put people down over the years and Charisma Carpenter was, she was had a pretty big part on those shows, and it's something that she talks about the anxiety she's felt since that, and that's, could you say that someone like Joss Whedon almost kind of ruined her career? She played Cordelia Chase in Buffy and Angel, and that again, it's so upsetting because it's really not something that you want to read. It's not something. Imagine if you were at work and someone was like that to you. Of course you would go to HR, but it's very different if you're in an environment where, I'm pretty sure there are loads of different. I know there are loads of different environments where this is the case, but where it's the director and the creator of something, or there's like the CEO, for instance, is directly saying you will lose your job if you don't do this. And we've heard like reports of what he was trying to get Gal Gadot to do on the set of Justice League, and it's if you watch these things again now, it's probably it comes up as being. Some of his stuff, some of his work is a bit suspect as well. And before I finish the show, I want to make sure that Charisma Carpenter she was in The Expendables, she was in Veronica Mars, she was in Charmed. So she's been in a lot of stuff since, but she was definitely, so it's not like Joss Whedon ruined her career. which he was actually, if you read her statement, he was really threatening to do. He was threatening to get her sacked and things like that. And it's just terrible for a young actor's self-esteem to have to go through that. And refusing to take her calls when she was pregnant, so that she didn't have to film at 1 o'clock in the morning, which apparently he was asking people to do and asking her to do, and that he had his favourites and he was bullying a lot of people on set. So I'm hoping this will be the end of him. I hope he doesn't work again, because you can't get away with treating people like that. You really can't. And I know it sounds like I'm probably blabbing about this now, but it's something that I really do feel very strongly about. And I think Joss Whedon will get his just desserts, and that he won't really be able to do anything in the entertainment industry anymore. He left his show The Nevers, and it seems as though that was a result of the Justice League investigation. So as far as Joss Whedon is concerned, I'm pretty sure he's over, which is a good thing. And I mean, we knew that he was doing this kind of stuff, but it's still quite, when you read it like this, and the tweet's gone viral. So she got over almost 50,000 likes and 18,000 retweets. So it's done. It's good. She's got her story out there. It's, of course, Joss Whedon was someone that was definitely protected by people, and it was made difficult to say anything against him for a long, long time. He was still getting, got the Avengers gig, he got the Avengers Age of Ultron gig, he got the Justice League gig. He was actually given the Batgirl gig to direct that film, to write and direct it, which, thinking back to that, you think, oh my God, giving him that, considering how he's treated women. I say good riddance. And with that, I'll say good night. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Again, if you could like and subscribe, that'd be wonderful. If you could follow us on social media at Small Screen Co, that would also be very, very helpful. If you could follow me as well at EJ Lauder, that'd be wonderful. If you'd rather listen to this as a podcast, you can. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts at Small Screen Stories. And if you listen on Apple Podcasts, then please give us a 5-star rating. That'd be really lovely. I'm trying to come up with another word than wonderful. And with that, I'll say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching, and have a lovely evening or morning wherever you are. And I'll see you back here tomorrow. Cheers. Goodbye.